All right, so I recorded this video earlier when I was on break, and I don't know what it is with TikTok. Whenever I try and save like the longer videos, it like disappears or it undoes or some shit. So I don't know. I'm getting really irritated with this app, so I'm just recording this on my regular phone or whatever. Anyway, so I am ecstatic that them Fresh and Fit fools have been demonetized on YouTube. I love to see it. I hope more of this happens to other similar podcast platforms ran by these Manosphere, MGTLW, Red Pill, Alpha Male, SYSBM type individuals. And I hope that they and their supporters continue to suffer. Really the male supporters. I hope the women that support these type of things, specifically the black women, I hope they wake up and find some self-love and some common sense. With that being said, when it comes to these type of platforms, I want to just iterate to you all that just because men complain about something or they get together and join an echo chamber or a circle jerk or whatever you want to call it, doesn't really mean that what we are arguing about as men is actually substantial or important or the actual issue. For instance, for decades, a lot of black men in the black community, a lot of times in religious circles such as Islamic and Hebrew and even some Christian circles, when it came to black people, asserted that part of the reason the black community is failing is because black women were wearing weaves, had fake nails, wore makeup and all this other mess, stuff like that. And the fact of the matter is, while I myself do appreciate a natural, black woman in her natural element, I also appreciate women that, might get weave or wear makeup or wear fake nails or whatever. The fact of the matter is, none of those things substantially have led to the downfall of the black community. A lot of what's led to the actual downfall of our community, if you're going to be honest with it, has to do with what we as men have and have not done and also have allowed. And the downfall of our community is also tied to how we have treated our own women at various points in time, to the point where, we've treated black women bad, like generally speaking, and yet we still expect for black women to stick with us and support us, despite the fact that we've shown a lot of disloyal behavior, a lot of disloyal things. And when I say disloyal, I just don't mean like race traitor type things, which I don't think going to another race inherently makes you a traitor. But doing things within your community to actually harm those, like the other demographic or things that actually harms your community, I think is more so along the lines of like more important or more substantial traitors behaviors, if that makes sense. So yeah, just because we as men get together and we get on a platform or a podcast, whatever you want to call it, and say that this is our issue with women and stuff like that, and just because there are a lot of us that come together and have that as an issue, doesn't really mean that those things are actually an issue. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of things that we as men complain about, specifically black men, our predecessors started. And when I say our predecessors, I mean other men. In this case, most likely white men, being that it is that we're in America, and a lot of these standards for masculinity were either started or affirmed and turned into like a social custom or social what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the actual word I'm trying to look for, but they were pretty much set in stone thanks to white men. And, those things were projected onto the black community and the various communities that have been pretty much subjugated by white people here in America, all over the world really, but specifically America, because that's where we're at. So yeah, just because you get on these platforms, they say, oh, well, we want women that are fresh, fit, and feminine. And that's why, say, for instance, that's why men are not marrying women. That's really dumb, for the simple fact that you have different social things. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have heard masculinity and femininity is not like a box, like a one size fits all type thing. And to think that just because you don't fit within certain molds or certain archetypes that you're not inherently feminine, to me, that's just asinine or dumb. Your femininity might not have matched with that particular male, or the male might have wanted you to do things that he felt was feminine because, those are things that he grew up seeing his own mother and maybe women in his other family do. And because that's the concept of femininity that he has, or womanhood that he has, he projects that onto the woman that he's with. And if she doesn't conform, all of a sudden now she's not feminine enough, or she's not woman enough to, be in a relationship, which again, to me, that's dumb. to like hold that standard for women across the board, instead of understanding that what you want is what you want and not necessarily an indication of the lack of femininity or the lack of whatever it is for other women, you know. Oops. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, that's kind of it. A lot of these, I'm really hoping that a lot of these other podcasts or whatever that are of the same ilk as Fresh and Fit Fools, I hope they suffer. I hope they fall. I hope if they adhere to the alpha male, red pill, men go their own way, aka MGTOW, or the Save Yourselves Black Men, SYSBM, or oh man, what was it? Like pretty much, you know, like the Manosphere talking points. I hope that they suffer. And if they don't suffer, I hope it's because they woke the fuck up and realized that they're making manhood in general trend towards the wrong direction. Attempting to make men, you know, value ourselves is not wrong, but attempting to make men value ourselves to the point that we have to degrade women so we feel better is where that's where that's wrong, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with somebody having a good, you know, sense of self, a good self-esteem, and, you know, having a good amount of their version of self-respect. But using that as a way to pretty much shit on women is where this is where we're going to suffer. And I hope the men that are conscientiously doing these things with the intent to shit on women, I hope they also suffer as well. Also, let me also point this other thing out, because I feel like I've made this point twice in like the past couple of days on different platforms. When it comes to feminism, right, I understand the narrative of feminism and whatnot, especially when it comes to the black community. But really, honestly, I'm really tired of it. Like, I don't really care about this whole, oh, well, they gave feminism to you and they were having issues with their men. You didn't have the same. I don't really care about that shit anymore. At this point, it's more like motherfuckers just grasping for straws. But here's my issue with this whole thing concerning feminism, where like us men are concerned, and even some women, it's really annoying. So many of us act as if women wanting to gain equality or, you know, better rights, better treatment is something that should be punished, right? And what I'm saying is, if you could, and honestly, I suggest and I support somebody making this comparison. It's no different than white people saying that, oh, well, because black people wanted equal rights and better rights, civil rights, stuff like that, you know, we should do everything we can to punish them. If they want to be uppity and ask for better laws to support them and to protect them, then yeah, we should do things to punish them. And anytime we get the chance to, we should do this, that, and the third of them, because they want to bother us about equality instead of being upset or being satisfied, with the crumbs that we've given them. That's literally what a lot of people sound like when they get upset or they want to be and moan about feminism. That's really all it boils down to in my mind. People using the fact that women want equal rights as a way to be complicit or to be okay with incidents or situations of black women, specifically black women in this case, because the situation I'm referring to was about a black woman. Using those situations to be okay with a black woman getting punished or getting negatively affected or harmed. And the fact of the matter is, even if you feel as if a black woman did something that garnered a certain reaction, even if you feel as if that action was justified, the fact that you want to throw in women wanting equality and wanting better rights as a reason why black women specifically, and I guess it applies to other women too, but specifically black women as a reason why black women should be punished or mistreated, is very telling of our mindsets as men, right? If you look at a group of people that are wanting better or equal rights that have, you know, historically been disenfranchised and disrespected within a particular society or in a particular community, then that says way more about you if you want them to suffer because they want equality. And on that one single particular note, it makes so much sense to me why people say that many black men or black men in general are like the white people of the black community. Because so many of us will spit this rhetoric, will try and spin this shit and make it look as if, or make it sound as if black women just did the worst thing ever by supporting the feminism or supporting things that gave them rights or gave them equality or gave them better treatment. And it's ass backwards, honestly.